guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and today I wanted to do like a little life update and kind of a moving expectations versus reality video that I think at least a few of you are probably looking forward to. But just kind of a check-in video and chatty video. And yes, I am doing filming today, and no, I'm not changing my outfits from one video to the next, sorry. And just trying to get the videos done for this next week as I can. So far it's working out to film, and kind of I've been using scheduling to my advantage, and I already, had a rhythm set up where I was editing at night. So far, I think it's working out. A few less vlogs than I know you guys would want to see, but I feel like the vlogs during the week, it's just going to be me like, okay, I'm going to work. Okay, it's lunchtime. Okay, it's dinner time. I don't really know how much they're going to have in them. So I'm still working that part out, but I will definitely share some working day in the life videos here and there because maybe it'll be interesting to some people. But update-wise, the past month has been a bit of transition, but it's gone pretty well, I think, in, my opinion. The kids go to after-school care at their school, and they've adjusted to that. I work like 8 to 5, and then I pick them up, and then we come home and we do dinner. And my husband gets off work actually earlier than I do some of the days, so he'll pick them up sometimes. And he really likes his job here, so that helps as well. So, the job is really good. It's basically what I expected it to be, and I really like who I work with. I just got a really good vibe off of it. So that's kind of one of the reasons that I jumped and just went for it. And I know I had people ask me, like, what was your process of preparing for this? And what was your process of looking for a job and all the sorts of things? And to be really, like, I want to be honest, but I want to be careful at the same time. Like, oh, I hope my boss doesn't watch this video. They are completely aware of my YouTube channel and everything. And they're actually really supportive of it, which is really cool. And, they already know I'm going to be going to events and things like that coming up in the spring and on into 2018. So that's awesome. But to be completely honest with you, I wasn't actively looking for a job when I found this job. I just happened to randomly look on Indeed one day, and I really do think this is one of those, like, everything that's meant to be will be type of things. Like, everything happens for a reason, or fate, or whatever you want to call it. I happened to just, during the day one day, I really did miss human interaction during the day. I will say that. I did miss, like, that kind of just that driving force during the day. And so I just happened to look on Indeed with the idea and intent of, let me see what's out there, kind of let me see, are they full-time jobs, are they part-time jobs, what's out there basically. And I happened to just get on at the right time, and about the third job I scrolled down, it had social media in the title, and I went, huh, well, that's cool. That's kind of what I already do. And so I read the job description, and I kind of already knew a little bit about the company. And so I was like, And I thought about it, and I did not talk it over with my husband. I did not tell him. I got my resume, and I submitted my resume for it. And I thought, well, I'll submit my resume. It sounds like a really cool job. And in my mind, I was really thinking like, oh, well, if I get an interview, it'd be good interview practice. So I ended up getting called for an interview, and we were actually in Florida when I got the call. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it that week. Can I do it the following week? And they said, sure, that's fine. And I thought, well, they're going to find someone else while I'm in Florida. But I went ahead and, I went to the interview, and it went really well. And I got called back on another interview, and that went really well. And it was, everything I was thinking it was going to be and more. There was a lot of other components that I wasn't aware of when I first applied for the job. And then I found out about them. Like, part of the job is like managing a blog and, handling the writers and all those sorts of things. And there's also some global aspects where we're doing some charity and giving options that are actually like global, which is really, really cool. And so I found out more about those, and the more I got into it, it was like, I really want this job. So obviously by this time my husband knew, because I told him when I got the interview, I was like, oh, by the way, I applied for a job. And I filled him in. So he was aware of it by that point. But I got called back on an interview, and then I got called back on a second interview, and then I got called back on a third interview, and I got offered the job. And I really kind of had to sit there and like think, and I was like, you know, I think this is meant to be. Like, I really like this job. I really like all the people that I've met. This is like totally up my alley, and it's in social media, and they are totally cool with me still doing YouTube, because that was one of the things that was understood. Like, you know, I still want to be able to be there for my kids, and I still want to be able to do YouTube, and that was totally fine. And I thought, you know what, I can't pass this up. I mean, I'd be a dummy to pass this up, you know, like, it's right here. It's like being offered to me. So I accepted the position, and then obviously started at the beginning of November. And it's gone pretty well, I think, from my side anyways. You know, I just tried to jump in and just, you know, kind of jump in full force and just do what I knew how to do and ask questions on what I didn't know how to do, and just tried to, you know, do the best that I could, basically. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So that's that, and that's how it kind of came about, and I'm sorry that that's not very helpful. The main things that I would say, like, if you're looking at, you know, transitioning from stay-at-home mom to going back to work, would be do what I did by finding this job, basically, is do searches, preliminary searches, and see what's out there. Get an idea. Are most of the jobs that are in your field that you're looking at, you know, what hours are they? What days are they going to work? So you can kind of have an idea and a plan in place of what you're going to do childcare-wise, because I don't think I could have done this as quickly as it happened if I didn't already have a plan in place. Because I knew that the extended care, how it ran basically at their school, because one of our neighbors goes there. And so from talking to her, I basically had all the information that I needed, just in general conversation of like how it worked, and like I basically knew their hours and everything. So when I went in to get the information on it, it was really quick and easy. I basically went in to get the information, and they were signed up the next week. So if you don't already have that plan in place, I think that's probably one of the biggest hurdles, is the childcare part. But then once that's worked out, you know, then you're pretty good to go. Summer-wise, I'm already aware of a camp that I had looked into in Michigan. I'm just gonna say, I kind of dance around it a lot, but there's a national group gym. I mean, it's a national group that's everywhere, and it's a gym. I think pretty much people are gonna figure it out just by that. But there is one up in Michigan, there's one here, and that is where I went to the gym at for like Zumba and yoga and all that. And they had childcare built in, which is one of the reasons why we got a family membership there. And they have swimming and all that. I had looked into doing the summer camp there last summer, and then the moving stuff came up and all that. And so we didn't end up doing it. But I knew how it worked from looking into it up there. And since it's a national company, it's the same here. So that's the plan for the summer, is, you know, doing that kind of full-term summer camp. So anyhow, having that plan in place is, I think, kind of the really big first hurdle. As far as the transition, you know, it's different in the sense of I have to just let some things go. Like, the house is not as clean as it was when I was home all day long, but I think that's pretty much to be expected. Dinners are not like, you know, dinners are never gourmet dinners in my house. We'll just go ahead and put it out there. You guys all know I'm not a cook. But there are some days that we just are going to go out to eat because I don't feel like cooking. My husband's not going to cook, so we're going to go out to eat. There's going to be a little bit more of that, but obviously now we're dual income again, so, you know, whatevs, basically. And so some of those things are going to be different. Getting used to filming with people home is the biggest, I think, thing that I have to get used to. Like, I just did the gift guides, like I did a gift guide, and I'm like sitting here like nervously trying to get through the gift guide before anyone walks in. Like, filming with people home is still the weirdest part for me, and most difficult part. Because it's really distracting when you know someone's getting ready to open the door and walk in on me filming. Anyhow, because last year I would film if I would do a sit-down video when Natalie would be at school. So job-wise, amazing, fantastic. My husband's job, working out great. I mean, you know, like, it was everything that we thought it would be. So now to the second part of the video, moving expectations versus reality, which I think for some people this is like the part where they're probably gonna be like this, so tell me more. And let me just first preface this by saying that I met a ton of nice people here. Like, there's some really, really great people here. So this is absolutely nothing about the people here. It's just the differences I think that you have to get used to when an area is different than a different area. So some of the expectations. So first of all, I kind of, I guess, had in my head, like, you know, I've lived further south before. Where I'm from is actually 4 hours away from here. So I kind of, like, remembered it being a lot warmer first of all. It's winter right now. It's winter coat weather, so we'll put it that way. And also, I remember it being a little bit warmer than I feel like it is now, currently. And also, I don't remember people freaking out about snow, but maybe that's just the difference in where I lived versus here. Like literally they had a chance of snow yesterday. It didn't snow, but they had a chance of snow, and like pretty much all the stores were sold out of milk and bread. I do not remember that happening where I grew up, but it's 4 hours north of here, so maybe people were slightly more relaxed about that. So some things that I wasn't anticipating were obviously the school issues, which we've thoroughly beat that horse, and then also the driving issues just totally didn't even occur to me. They have some big traffic issues here, and it, I think, is due to not anticipating how much the area was going to grow, and now there's just a rapid amount of growth and people moving in, and there's supposed to be continued rapid growth like over the next 2 years, and there may potentially be a huge company coming here that they may announce that at the beginning of 2018. If that happens, they're gonna have to do something with these roads. These roads are crazy. And everyone that you meet here, whether they're from here, whether they've moved here, they will like just flat out, you have this conversation with everyone. Like they say the driving is crazy here. Like no one has an explanation for it. The only thing that I can figure out is because there's so many transplants here. Like literally pretty much I'd say 90% of the people that you meet here are not from here originally. Everyone moves here from somewhere else because there's so many contract companies and military and these big companies that are just building plants out by the airport and things like that. No one's originally from here. Like 10% of the people are. It's just all these different driving styles. So you got people that are used to driving up north and are driving more aggressive and defensively. And then you've got people that are from other areas of the country that are not driving that way. And you see things I've literally never seen in I've seen people like just come over and like push people onto the shoulder, and I don't know, like T-bones all the time. Like I don't even know like how it happened, whether someone was trying to go through on a red and someone was jumping the green, or the other day there's a lot of like multiple car accidents, especially at stoplights. So it's probably just not people, it's probably people not paying attention. But anyways, a lot of wrecks, and I was not anticipating that. Like to the point of I'm literally thinking about getting an older vehicle, because it's not a matter of if I'm gonna get in a wreck, it's when. It's just, statistically, you drive past so many of them every day. I'm like, I don't see how this isn't gonna happen. You know, with that being said, a car drove into my house like what, 2 years ago. So, you know, statistically, anything can happen, I guess. So that was definitely one thing we were not anticipating. The schools being as far behind as they are, not something we're anticipating. We have looked into private schools. I'm really not sold on that idea. I never envisioned my kids going to private school. I really don't, I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I really don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the uniforms. I don't want to deal with that aspect of it. I don't know, I just always kind of saw them going to public school, to be honest with you. So that's been a huge bummer, and I don't know what the solution is going to be yet. I don't know what it's going to be yet. So we're still trying to figure out what the solution is. But it is a huge bummer, and like the lack of the communications from the schools. Like the parents are not, it's not the parents that are not involved. There's no communication. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like we would get an almost daily email from our teachers last year at their schools in Michigan, and I knew exactly what they were doing in every single subject. I knew what they had for homework. It was literally just all spelled out in an email, went straight to my email almost daily. I had a great idea of what was going on in the classroom. She would literally give me talking points like, this is what we did today. This is the book that we read. You know, this is this and this is that. Ask your child about, you know, these things. I had like a really clear-cut idea of like what they were doing in their classrooms last year. So this is definitely an expectation versus reality. Is it unrealistic for me to expect that from any single teacher that we would ever have? Probably. But because I've been set up with that for 2 years, that was my norm. You know, that was what all the teachers at that school do. So that was what was normal to me. So to come here and you literally get like a newsletter, which is generic for the whole grade level, that has like 5 spelling words and like, you know, we're working on nouns this week for reading, and that's like literally the only information that you get about what they're doing in their classroom. It's like a huge kick to the gut, honestly, to go from that extreme amount of information that we were getting out of the classrooms up in Michigan to here. So that was definitely, and that's just a difference. I'm not trying to say one is right and one is wrong. It's just a difference, and it's been a tough difference. It's been really, really tough. And I don't know what the solution is. I mean, obviously you could say like, well, you just need to compromise and get over it, and you need to just deal with it because that's what they do there. But the problem is that it makes our family suffer negatively, because if I don't know what's going on in their classroom, how am I supposed to have like an enriched conversation with, like, I could ask my child detailed like questions last year and have a detailed conversation about what they were doing in school. And I can't do that this year. And it's really like a bummer, to be honest with you. So I don't know what the solution is there. And I have asked the teachers if they would send me a more detailed email, and I basically got it. That's not what we do here. Now, the past week, I will say that we've gotten a couple emails. So whatever's happened there, I don't want to mess that up. But it is helpful, like when we get emails, to find out what's going on. So that's that. The area is really beautiful here. I mean, love the mountains. I don't think that there's any issues with that. It's just been that kind of like culture difference of they're kind of just really hands off here. And I don't know, I guess we kind of have that preference of, you know, just being more helicopter parents. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I, you know, should have some idea of what's going on in my kid's classroom. But anyways, so that's been tough. You know, the work does seem like it's a little bit behind, especially in Natalie's classroom. You know, what Isabella was doing in kindergarten from now, I can just kind of see it's just behind. And so I do worry about, like, it's not about like if we stayed here, it's about like what if we had to move up north again and they go into one of the school systems up there and they're just behind. So it is a stress factor for sure. And we do not have a solution yet. I don't know. And obviously by me getting a job, I completely knocked out homeschooling as an option, which was unintentional, but it's what happened. But like I said, like this job has like so many benefits, and I can see it just being such a like long-term, like different things that I can grow from it, that I really couldn't say no. So that's that. The other thing, that this is kind of like a little bit more lighthearted, like expectations versus reality, but I really expected to like come down here and like everything would be monogrammed and that there would be like huge bows and all that kind of stuff. And I've been a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, because there are tons of monogramming places everywhere. And like you occasionally, like on a Sunday, see a kid dressed up with a nice bow and a nice dress. But during the week, they wear the same stuff they do in Michigan. In fact, I was sending Natalie to school with bows in her hair, and she got told to stop wearing them because they were a hazard during PE. And I was like, seriously? That's the whole reason we moved to Alabama, was for the bows. You're gonna tell me that she can't wear bows to school because of PE? That's a huge bummer. So that was an expectations versus reality thing. And I feel like I don't see a lot of monogramming at their school either, which that just may be because, I don't know, maybe I'm not in position to see it. But even when I was in and helping a lot, you know, before I started working, I don't see a lot of monogramming, which that was surprising, because like literally even when I went over to get her nap mat, the lady that worked there was like, oh yeah, everyone here monograms everything. So that may just be different areas, like specific areas down here. I don't have a clue. The other thing, expectations versus reality, is that, how to put this eloquently, we're not into football. And that definitely cuts out a large part of the citizenship down here, to like have something like to talk about, or like something that like we like are into the same things. We're not into college football, and I don't see that changing. I don't see us taking up college football because we live in Alabama. So like, a funny story, like the little girl that lives down the road, I come down to play, and her mom was like, oh, I said to come pick her up by such and such time. It was a Saturday. And her mom was like, I said come pick her up by such and such time, because we're going to go over to her parents' house. the mom's parents' house and watch the Alabama game. I said, oh, there's a football game today. And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. She was like, yeah, there is. And come to find out, that was the day that the Iron Bowl was between Alabama and Auburn. I had literally no clue. Like, I don't keep track of this stuff. I don't. So like, people will get in conversations at work about like Tennessee that and Alabama this, and I'm like, you might as well be speaking Greek because I have no clue what you're talking about. So there is that. That's like a little bit, that's hugely different. Like Michigan had like the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, but I still feel like there was a large segment of the population that was really into the Tigers and the Red Wings and somewhat the Lions and all of that. But here it's like college football, college football, college football. Everything is college football. That is the only thing that exists here, it seems like. And like every single car you drive past, there's either an Alabama A or an Auburn, whatever they are. AU or whatever. So that's been interesting because it's like I have zero connection to that. I just look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So I don't know if that'll change. Like, I mean, obviously we haven't been here that long, but, and I used to like, you know, I was a dancer and I do sidelines at college football games, but it just, you know, it's not something that we were already inherently into. So there's like literally no connection there for us. And, so unfortunately, that seems to be like one of the big like things around here. Like, I don't know what else there is. The Space and Rocket Center, we like that. But anyhow, yeah, so other expectations versus reality. Downsizing. So my husband and I have now had a number of conversations about this. And we're still working through it. There's still things that I think we can get rid of. But it's literally hit the point of, we had the conversation the other day where we were like, we were trying to figure out why we decided to downsize again. I think that we were just so gung-ho about like, simplify, simplify, simplify. And in our minds, we thought having a smaller house would be simpler. I guess because it would be less to clean, I think is the main thing I was thinking. Like, if smaller, it'll be less to clean, which is true. And now I'm looking at hiring someone to clean the house, so then it doesn't really matter. But we kind of realized that the house being smaller does not necessarily make it simpler if you have the same amount of stuff to put into it. Right? So therein lies the problem, because if you have the same amount of stuff that you're trying to just fit into a smaller space, that's not simpler, that's actually more stressful. Trying to find places. So we're making it work, but you know, there's things that, like, we had the expectation going into this where I thought, both the girls are going to be in school. We're not going to need a playroom anymore. I'm currently sitting right now in our office, which this side of the room is now the office and that side of the room is the playroom. So that is definitely different than how I expected it to go. I thought that this room would be my office. It's no big deal. I do not mind sharing it with them. So let me just put that out there. And obviously I could use this house for, you know, videos and all those sort of things. But that we do over there on their channel. But that was definitely a, you know, we expected it to go one way and it went a different way. Again, not necessarily bad, and there's no right or wrong, I don't think, but it just didn't really pan out the way that we thought it would. I kind of really like having a basement. I like just being able to throw stuff in a basement, which is probably part of our problem, but you know, having that dedicated space for like the holiday decorations and that sort of thing is helpful. I guess it's not the biggest deal. And then obviously the pool. I've talked about this in other videos. My husband really wanted the pool, and so I really tried to get on board with it. I would really prefer just a fenced-in backyard with a play structure for them to play on, which is originally what we had planned on. And the other house that we were looking at, and the first house that we put an offer in on, and then they like came back and countered with an offer, and this house went on the market. My husband came and looked at this house, and he liked this house better. I kind of liked the other house better. Now, they were the same size, but the difference was that house had higher ceilings, one, which I think is definitely going to be on a wish list for the future. So a couple people were asking about wish list, higher ceilings, because even if you're in a smaller room, if it's got higher ceilings, it just gives you more breathing room, if you know what I mean. So that house had higher ceilings. It had wood floors, which I'm planning on changing downstairs in the living room and dining room because I do miss my wood floors. And it had, you know, just a big backyard that we could have put a play structure in, and that's that. I mean, that was the idea when we moved down here, is we just wanted to have a fenced-in backyard, that we have a play structure and probably eventually have a dog. And then that kind of had that curveball thrown in, and if this house went on the market, my husband went over and looked at it, and we ended up putting an offer on this house that was accepted, because it literally, I don't even think it had been on the market 24, 48 hours at the time that he came and looked at it. I think even less than that, honestly. That kind of like threw a wrench into all of that. And really, you can't use this pool any longer than you really could if you had a pool in Michigan. It's not like a year-round pool. It's outdoors. It's cold right now. It's like 20 degrees today. So I tried to get on board with it, but I really don't like the safety aspect of it, and you know, the upkeep. Even though he's doing all of it, like he still wants to talk about it constantly. So you know, that part's just slightly annoying for me. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the other house would have been the better fit in my mind. And it was the same size as this house and a similar layout actually too, but it just had higher ceilings and it had a loft area that would have been the playroom. So I had the 4 bedrooms, and then there was a loft with a really pretty picture window there in the loft. And that loft area would have been turned into the playroom, because it was basically like a room that, you know, instead of a landing, it was like a big room that you stepped into. And it already had the wood floors. Like here, I'm gonna have to put in the wood floors. And it just had a backyard that we could have used and could have put a play structure in. So looking back on it, I wish I kind of would have dug my foot in on that house a little bit more, because I feel like it would have been a better fit for us. But my husband really likes having the pool, I think. So he won, basically. But now I think he's kind of seeing, I think he thought we were going to be able to use the pool more year round. And so now he's kind of really bummed about the pool, because we really had to stop using it at the beginning of September. And he's seeing now that we probably won't be able to start swimming until May. So anyways. Okay, this video is probably really super long. In fact, I may have had to split this into 2 videos if I just sat here and talked really super long. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Hopefully this video wasn't a bummer. I don't know. I was just kind of spitballing. But anyways, we are both really enjoying our jobs, and that's the big thing. We just need to figure out the school situation and figure out what the best solution there is. And the driving, I don't think there is any solution other than just, I don't know, getting an old car and armoring it. It's the only solution I have there. But anyhow, that is it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.